morning, good morning, good morning. It's your girl, Becky D, live in the morning, 5 days a week at 7 a.m. All right, you guys. So yesterday, I kind of already hinted on what we're going to be talking about today, which is all focused on the past, okay? So, one thing that I have had to learn, and sometimes it's still hard, it's something that we all do. Unfortunately, it's a part of our DNA almost, but it's not running to the past, okay? All right? We just want to learn from the past. You don't want to keep going back to it, right? About to fully embarrass myself here. But especially, growing up in school, college, all that stuff, I found myself to be a repeat offender. Okay. And when I say that, I'm going to explain myself before you start bashing me. Okay. What I mean by a repeat offender is that I used to date the same person several times. Don't know why. Color me crazy. Maybe it's I thought that was my best option out there. I have no earthly idea. But that was me. Continuously dating the same person every single time, right? We broke up for a good reason. Like, it's just things like that. The only person that I probably should have ever went back to was the person who we really didn't have a good reason for a breakup. It was just ugly and messy, and we were both way too young. But when we broke up and everything calmed down, we did agree that, we are too young. Maybe let's revisit this when we get older and we'll see where we're at. We never revisited. And it kind of sucks because he was such a truly good friend. But, the past is the past, right? I am learning from it, but I am not running back to it, right? Some people, I know you guys seen the little slow sign to let you know that a kid is in the neighborhood. It's like a little miniature version of like a green kid. If you've never seen one, you probably don't have kids in your neighborhood. But that's what it looks like for some of you guys when you're like, oh my gosh, there's my ex, there's my past. You know, one thing, especially with the type of work that I do, I try to remind people that you are truly not your past. Okay. Like, why? Just that's the main question I start with. Why? Why do you keep running back to something that was never meant for you? Why do you keep going back to it? Stop. Obviously, it don't want you and you don't want it. Okay? Some people keep going back to an old job that was overworking them, that was beating them down, making them super stressed, not really any financial benefits. It was just familiarity, right? Sometimes we do that because we are just familiar with a person, a place, a setting, a job, a position, a family, whatever the case may be. Now, don't get me wrong, over my years of dating, I have met great people and great families, and we still have a connection today. It's kind of like, okay, I know my people that you talk to really wasn't it, but we still cool, right? We can go shopping on Sunday, that kind of thing, right? Like, I show up at a cookout and your current person is looking like, who is that and why is she here? That's me. But literally, y'all, stop going back to your past. And it's a mad dash. Like, I feel like there should be an Olympic for those that return back to their past. Who could do it the fastest? But some people just do it immediately. Like, as soon as you see that person walk by, you're like, oh my gosh, I gotta have you back. Please take me back. Oh my gosh. I was talking to this young man, and literally, he was telling me about his girlfriend. And I was like, oh, where's she at? And she was like, oh, he's not, he said that she's not too far away. And I was like, oh my gosh, I met your girlfriend. And he was like, what? I said, yeah, yeah. I didn't realize who you were until you started talking about her. And I was like, yeah, I met your girlfriend. And he was like, man, she is crazy. And I looked at him and I was like, well, someone told me that you were going to say that. And it wasn't her, but someone else, because apparently they had met you too as well. I said, why are you still with her? He's like, I mean, like, I've been kicking it with her for a while, and you know how kids nowadays talk. Uh, And he was like, so, just she my family. And I was like, okay, that means she might just be a great friend. And I ain't trying to break him up or nothing, but he literally was just sitting there like, she need to get her life together. She is two shades of crazy and cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and this just ain't for me. Pretty much is what he was telling me. Like, I can't keep doing this. Like, somebody need to come take off my hand. If you ever seen, I got Chris Tucker in it, Head of State. I was gonna say I just had the name of the movie and I lost it. If you ever seen the movie Head of State, and he just sits there and out of nowhere the girl will come popping up because she's trying to marry him now that he's a big shot, do something, you know what I'm saying? And all he yells is security, and he comes, security comes and snatches up. That's what we all need in life when it comes to people in our past. Because some people, especially when we become successful, start making a name for ourselves, when you could go into some place and just drop your name and you get anything you want, that's when people want you the most. I feel bad for athletes, performing artists, any of those, right? The mainstream media people, because you have people literally knocking down your door from your past. Like, hey, you remember me? Family going, hey, cuzzo, you remember me? Y'all, to this day, I'm not even going to name names, but if you know me personally, know who I'm talking about. I have cousins, okay, who have made it to that realm, all right, of annoyance, may I add. And they acted, the other family members started turning like, hey, cuzzo, remember me? Can I get tickets and do this and that? That ain't me. Somebody asked, it was like, oh, you're from the same, little thingy and all that. And I'm like, yeah. Like, we weren't cool to begin with. Why am I going to be cool now? Make that make sense, right? I'm not going chasing after somebody or something that doesn't want me, right? I found myself doing that with jobs as well. Gotta be honest. I'm an honest person. So, with employment, unfortunately, I sometimes am a repeat offender, right? Um, I should have probably started with this when I came back, but I'm just saving some stuff for another day. But I have officially left education. Um, I'm still kind of mixed into it some weird kind of way, but I completely left education. Uh, it was a field that apparently didn't want me, but I saw the work that I did and that I loved, and the kids that I helped and grow and help expand their knowledge of whatever topic we were learning in whatever grade. Um, but the system is toxic, right? Like, by far the most stressful school year I had was this school year. And you guys, I'm a pretty laid back, chill type of teacher. I gotta be real with you, okay? I am. Oh, you showed up today? Thank you. I showed up today too. We both just showing up today. Can we just sit here and talk about it? Right? I'm that kind of teacher. Like, okay, we're good. We both present. We got 100 for being here today. Can we watch this documentary and then discuss it later? Like, that's me. Okay. Because I showed my students just how real life can be. That sometimes the best that we can do is just show up. And those were the days they learned the most. It was scary, but those were the days they learned the most. So one school that I was working with was solid, man. I already knew if I had a job there next year or not, right? It was right off the bat, like, Davis, you're coming back, right? It wasn't, oh, we don't have a position for you. It was, nah, Davis, you're coming back, right? Like, we want to go ahead and make sure that you will return here. And you know me, I'm like, yeah, I'll be back. Like, as long as we good. And he was like, nah, like, here, sign your paperwork, you're good. Bet. Say less, right? I switched schools and whatnot. And again, the students, they're phenomenal. But the returned energy was not the same. And so, first year, it was like, I'm sorry, I really don't have a position for you next year. And then, someplace along the summertime, out of nowhere, right? It was like blowing up my phone. Hey, so what can we do to get you back here next year? And this and that. I was like, dude, first of all, you don't have a position for me. Like an idiot, I went back. Okay. That was my bad. I went back. I go back and, you know, literally it came time to that time of the year for the decision, and it was the same song, same tune. I went back to my past and literally they did the same song and dance. If I would have did that for another year, and I'm pretty sure they'll probably blow my phone up this summer as well. If I would have done that for another year, how crazy would I have looked listening to the same song and dance next school year and acting shocked or surprised? Like, oh my gosh, are you serious? No, right? And hopefully they can understand that. Like, hey, I'm not going to keep doing the same old song and dance because it sounded like you didn't want me in the first place, right? So that is what we need to start seeing. Okay. Now, some people, maybe it was you who actually messed up, and there are some times where you can run back to the past, but I wouldn't necessarily run back to it. I would definitely crawl, like really low down to the ground, what they call an army crawl for some reason, but other sports and stuff do a low crawl. Um, it's just you really want to just take it slow, take it at a snail's pace. Maybe rekindle a friendship, maybe look at the situation and be like, hey, I'm not going to fully commit back to this employment. I need to see what management looks like, something like that. Because some jobs are great and sometimes they do have to displace people, right? And maybe you were last hired, first out kind of situation that happens. So the situations are always different. You just have to read yours and see what's going on. We don't take time to sit back and evaluate, right? Society try to not let us have that time to sit back and evaluate. But when we go on a job or we're in a relationship, we are always being evaluated. It is annoying, okay? Literally, like, you go on a job, some people have 90-day probation or whatever, and they're evaluating you. They're like, oh, let's see if you're going to be able to keep up employment. In the back of your head, you thinking, man, your retention rate sucks. I think I am your best option. Like, I actually wanted the position. But it's situations like that that we need to be mindful of, okay? That's all I'm saying. Don't go running back to the past, all right? Learn from it, evaluate it, and let's see what we can do differently, right? If it's a relationship, maybe there's some things that you can do differently. But if that person is a total no, accept the no. All right. If they're okay with friendship, leave it at friendship. Do not try to take it 20 steps past that. Because sometimes we just got to speak as a human. We tend to do that. We go and we take it a little bit overboard by trying to do more than just be that friend for them. Right. You guys, I've been holding y'all over the 7 minute time limit that I keep in my head for this whole week. Maybe I'm just excited to be back. I'm not sure. But today, make sure that you guys are evaluating past situations before you go back to them. And make sure that sometimes you need a pop up blocker. All right. So just get your own form of security that you can yell when somebody is trying to pop back up in your life so that way you can keep your sanity. All right. My name, as always, is Becky D with Becky D in the morning, and I will definitely be talking with you all tomorrow morning.